Hey everybody, welcome to another tutorial. This time we're going to cover a hook to get some Google fonts into our store. So if you haven't watched my Phoenix hooks getting started video, you should probably go over and watch that one first. It'll give you a little bit of background on it. So this will be a quick video. Let's get started. Basically, if we go into our store HTML here using F12 to get into my developer tools of Firefox, you can also do this in Chrome. It's a little bit different, but F12 will just toggle these on and off, and if I'm under the inspector, I can actually hover over any one of these boxes. I can scroll through over on the right here, and I can see exactly what fonts are being used, what styles are being applied to every element on the page. In this case, I can see that the body block has got a font family, and then it's got all of its listed fonts there, and that's responsible for what we're seeing here. Now, one thing I should mention about fonts and websites is the fonts only work if the person coming to the website has the font installed on their computer. So some people I know will have Microsoft Word or Photoshop with a bunch of extensions or what have you, and as a result of that, they get a whole bunch of fonts and they get all excited and say, hey, I'm going to add one of these fonts to my website, and they'll load it and it'll look great to them. They think everybody else sees that, but unless those other people also have that font installed on their computer, they won't see that font. And so the way this basically works is it will show this font if it has it. If it doesn't, it'll go to the next font. If it doesn't have that, it'll keep going through the list until it gets to the end of the font list, and then it'll default to the system font. You can actually install Google Fonts. If you go to fonts.google.com. And so how this differs is it basically allows you to add some JavaScript to your website, and every time somebody comes to your website, it will load the font into the browser from Google and allow you to use that font. So you can get some pretty creative fonts in here. So let's say I was to use stick font. So if I click on this, so here's what the font looks like. You can actually type in here and see what it would look like. So depending on what you're going for, you can test that out. You can choose the different glyphs that come with it. You can go into the different font sizes and test that out. So if I decided I wanted to use stick, I can say select this style. But I can also go and choose if there was more styles. So here I've got regular 400. This particular font doesn't look like it has variations. You can add additional variations. Some of them will have a whole bunch of different font weights and whatnot, so you can add all of those. I'm just going to stick with this. So basically, I can just take this link and copy that. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our website, and we're basically going to create a hook to get this in there. So now we want this to be through the entire website. So I'm going to go under templates, override. Again, I need to turn on the override template in my admin if I haven't already done that. You could create this hook if you're on an earlier version of Phoenix in the usual hook space under includes hooks, but we're going to put this under templates, override, includes, hooks, shop. I'm going to do it site-wide, and I'm just going to call this Google Font. Okay, so now I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call it hook shop site-wide. Again, upper and lower case matters. Google Font. And we want to put this in, if I go under default, includes components, and I go to the template top, because this is a style. Typically I put my styles at the top, so I'm going to go into inject site start, which will get it in between the head tags, which is what I'm going for. So if I say function, listen, inject site start. So now I'm going to go back to our code here over on Google Fonts, copy that, and we will say style equals and then we'll paste that in there. So this is basically going to load those fonts into the DOM, and then we need to return style, and I will take this variable and pass it back to the template top and echo it out. So we'll get it right here. So let's just test that, make sure that worked. So if I was to go look at our head tags, I can see the Google Fonts right there. So it loaded that in for me. So now that still doesn't do anything if I refresh, because there's nothing telling the site to use that. So if I was to further to this, create a style block, and if I said body font family stick, now I get the stick font, and it'll be throughout everything because I targeted it at the body. The way that Phoenix is currently written, that's the only place for it. If I only wanted to target certain things, so say I only wanted to target these elements, that's a card header, then I could go and change this and just say card header. And now if I refresh this, only the card headers would have that funky font on them. So if I was looking to have a whole bunch of different fonts, I could take the time. I don't recommend littering your site with all kinds of different fonts, but if it's your interest to add a few different fonts, you can load as many as you need here, and then you can target whichever areas you need to here. And as a result, you'll get the fonts that you want in your site. So pretty simple hook. So if you like this, definitely subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and you know, every like helps, every comment helps. Really appreciate your efforts there. More videos to come. I will add this to the phoenixaddons.com website. I'll put a link in the description. And thanks for watching, and until next time.